Welcome to the fourth installment of the See-Through Car series. This is something I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. In the previous episodes, I drive this car through the worst streets and the worst potholes that I could find in the city of Chicago, and I figured to complete the series, there's only one thing missing: speed bumps. First thing I have to do is get the car prepped, washed, and most importantly, get the nitrous tank filled before letting this car face more of the continual destruction that the Chicago roads dish out on our cars. My idea here is to show everybody what would happen if you didn't see that speed bump and you were going too fast. I'm gonna go through three different types of speed bumps: the asphalt speed bump, the parking lot speed bump, and then what I like to call the suspension killers. These are these newer type of speed bumps that they're installing that are about 5 or 6 inches high, about 8 inches wide, and this is gonna be interesting and probably intense. First item on my list is the most common type of speed bump that we find in Chicago, the asphalt speed bump. And as you can see, these are really simple but effective. They cause quite a bit of damage to the car. This is all subframe damage, and this is caused by driver error. This is when the driver is going too fast, doesn't realize the speed bump is there, and then hits the brakes and bottoms out their car. So that's what I'm gonna be doing first, then move on to everything else. Yeah, let's do it.
Everybody ready?
We're all set.
That is a pretty good example on how people normally hit speed bumps. They normally aren't paying attention, they're going too fast, they see the speed bump too late, and they hit the brakes. They get on the brakes right as they go over the hump, which is exactly what I did. And you can see what the car did. The car went over, bottomed out, scraped, the weight transferred to the back of the car, and then it exited the speed bump. That's usually what happens. It was pretty cool. It was a lot of fun, and it looked really cool. The next thing I'm gonna do is, it's gonna be a completely different scenario. Instead of slowing down at the top and hitting the brakes like people normally do, I'm just gonna hit the accelerator and just go straight right through the speed bump and show you how the car behaves differently in that scenario. This time, I'm just gonna go as fast as I possibly can. I'm gonna hit the nitrous off the line and show you what happens if you hit the speed bump and just keep on going and don't hit the brakes at all, because I think the results will surprise you. That was the asphalt speed bump at high speed. As you can see, I just went as fast as I could, didn't hit the brakes, didn't do anything, and just went right over it. And to my amazement, nothing happened to the suspension, nothing happened to the car. The next thing I'm gonna do is we're gonna head over to the next speed bump, which is the type of speed bump you would find in the shopping mall parking lot. Now this is gonna start getting more intense because these speed bumps are no joke. I have just arrived at the parking lot of a big box retailer who just so happens to have the exact speed bumps that I'm looking for. They're those plastic yellow ones that you would find usually in like the parking lot of a supermarket or shopping mall. And I don't know how destructive they are, but we're about to find out. Not much. All right, well, that was no good. Nothing happened. I for sure thought that hitting those speed bumps at that speed would tear the suspension apart, but after looking at the high-speed footage, it looks like that's a higher frequency shock, and the tires are absorbing most of that shock, not the suspension. And at lower speeds, the tires are absorbing less of the shock and the suspension is absorbing more of the shock, which makes it feel like it would be destructive if you went faster. I wanted to see the suspension ripped to shreds and nothing's happening. This car's beyond bulletproof. I'm gonna try this one more time, but this time I'm gonna slam the brakes right before hitting a speed bump and see if we could tear something up. That was interesting. I'm really not satisfied with that last result. So for the next, look at that. See how bad that sounds? What the? I don't get it. So I'm gonna move on to the last and final speed bumps, which I think are gonna be, let's see. I'm here at our last and final location for hopefully what's gonna be the worst speed bumps yet. These are what I like to call suspension killers. Usually, these are the speed bumps that you have to go over really slow. They make your whole car jump up in the air. It seems like you can't go over these faster than about 10 miles an hour. I'm gonna go over them a little bit slow to show you what I'm talking about, and then I'm just gonna hit it and give it all it's got. Let's see what happens. As you can clearly see, when you hit these speed bumps at a lower speed, there's a lot of dramatic body movement. The whole car jumps up and down. That makes me think that at a higher speed, there's gonna be a lot of damage, and that's what I'm hoping for. I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed, go as fast as I can, hit these as hard as possible, and hope that the suspension gets ripped apart. If nothing happens, I don't even know what to say. I mean, these cars are built like a tank, and this thing has already been through so much. I'm surprised it's still together. Let's go. Oh, that was interesting. My glove box opened. So that was kind of interesting. At the higher speed, obviously the car's still intact, but you can see that the tire completed the entire amount of suspension travel upward that it had and even hit the subframe a little bit. It wasn't any worse than the potholes downtown. Those were the worst. I guess if the car survived that, the car will definitely survive this. I'm gonna do it one more time, replicating a scenario that happens to a lot of people where they hit the brakes last minute right before seeing the speed bump. And this should be a lot more intense than that last take. Only one way to find out. All right, here I go. I don't know what to say. I'm really disappointed that the suspension didn't get ripped apart by these speed bumps. I really thought it was going to. I did the best I can to hit the brakes at the right time and stress the components as much as I could. I mean, you could even see the tire bounced up, hit the subframe, the whole car was shaking. Again, I don't think it was any worse than the huge potholes, which is tempting because I would like to hit some more of those. But that concludes this episode. You saw it for yourself. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Leave your thoughts and your comments below. If you've experienced speed bumps, if they ripped apart your suspension before, I want to know about it because I would love to make that happen. That wraps this up. See you next time.
Speed.
I'm sure many of you are going to say that this is dangerous, but the way I see it is, this is a very possible scenario, especially in this day and age where nobody's paying attention to where they're going. And if they're so dangerous, why are they installing them in the first place?